yeah.
Hello, YouTube. Good night. How you doing? Second live stream. I just had to come on because the tariffs kind of hit really home for me. For that, please like and subscribe. I'd like to do this as a side project and, or main project, but a little bit of background about me. I'm been Republican my entire life until about, a couple years. Well, Trump, basically. Yeah, I guess I started as a never Trumper because I never liked the guy, ever, at all. I mean, bankrupted casinos, hated him in movies, never watched The Apprentice. He just always struck me as just this incredible try hard, blow hard, just kind of an awful person, and never liked the man. So when he ran for president, and I'll admit, I had my reservations about Hillary Clinton and everything else. I voted third party on that one as a Republican, as a registered Republican. But anyway, grew up in a manufacturing family. Manufacturers in my blood. How it's made is like one of my favorite shows. I love going to factories, plants. I started working on a family business in manufacturing when I was 12. So we attempted to export to China. I mean, one of the few places that ever did, our family business did. And, and I've done import and, so I've done import and export. I live this shit. And what is going on right now is bananas. Yeah, it's bonkers. It's insane. It's insane. It is completely, totally nuts. It makes no sense whatsoever. Will have no impact on our current account balance or trade deficits or anything else. It is mind-boggling how someone can be so freaking dumb to tank an economy in 2 months. Literally, we're month 2, and here we are. Dow has hit the circuit breaker, nearly hit the circuit breaker almost twice since he's been elected. And once was just Canada and Mexico. What do you think this week is going to, like the rest of this week is going to be? I mean, it's already down almost 1,700 today. Tomorrow's going to be just as bad. But I'm going to share some things here. Some of this is just nuts. All right, see, this is Drudge Report from yesterday. And I apologize, some of my information is a little bit late. Obviously the storms impacted greatly, and I really hope everybody who was in the path of those and affected was doing okay, because certainly nobody wants this shit when you got trees down in your yard or your house is damaged and everything else, and then here you go. Guess what? All the lumber that you need to repair your house, more expensive. All the plywood that you need to cover your house, more expensive. Shingles. I mean, the list goes on. Everything for housing just got monumentally more expensive. And the one on here that is just bonkers is Vietnam. Vietnam barely does anything with us, but it is the new manufacturing hub that China is going to. I mean, when we say, China, we bought it from China or something like that, chances are for a lot of it, it's actually being manufactured in Vietnam, and it's being, freighted over here just like we used to with China. So that 46% on Vietnam, pretty much everything on your store shelves, from clothing to, it's now almost 50% more expensive. And it's just going to get worse because businesses can't absorb that. They just can't. You as consumers can't. And the reciprocal tariffs, guess what Vietnam buys the most from us? Ag products. 25%, almost 25% of what they buy from us are agricultural products. So when they are looking at trying to respond to this 46% tariff, which is going to crush their economy, how are they going to respond? They're going to respond by putting a tariff on the things that they import from us. And that's primarily ag products. So what's that going to do to the farmers in the United States? Oh, by the way, yeah, I also come from a farm family. So guess what? These tariffs hit both, you know, my family ties and everything else, from farming to manufacturing. And Vietnam is going to crush. I mean, they're going to crush us on the tariffs. And so our farmers aren't going to have anywhere to sell their produce. All the ag products, all the food companies that we have in this country, they are going to get crushed, because what the US exports more than anything else, it's not manufactured goods, it's not finished goods, it's digital services, it's food, it's food products, it's food-based products. And so when we put an entire global tariff on everybody else, what are they going to do? They have no choice. They're going to put tariffs, retaliatory tariffs, on the things that they actually get from us. And that is going to be agriculture products. It's going to be food. It's going to be grain. It's going to be wheat. It's going to be corn. It's going to be rice, meat products. All of this is going to get hammered. And right now, with the Republican Congress and everything else, well, they're not going to get the support. So we're going to have farmers go under, and what's that going to do? And farming and agriculture follow cycles, so you're going to have a decline. Food prices are going to be down a little bit, because particularly livestock, because farmers or ranchers will have no choice but to liquidate their supply. And when they liquidate their supply, they just create more meat, which lowers the pricing. But then 6 months from now, 7 months from now, it's going to go double or triple, because they've offed the supply. They're reducing the herd. So the nutty thing is, we've tried this twice before, in the 1820s and again in the 1930s, late 1920s. Each time it resulted in economic calamity. So by all means, third time's the charm, especially with no goal in mind. There's nothing on the back end of these tariffs to increase manufacturing production. So what are we doing? We're literally taxing the American consumer for zero benefit, nothing. And then the other part of that is, who came up with these tariffs to begin with? Because I've heard now it's kind of come out that, I guess they put it into ChatGPT or something. And that is just crazy, because this is what you come up with. James just figured out where these fake tariffs came from. They didn't actually calculate tariff rates and non-tariff barriers as they say they did. Instead, for every country, they just took our trade deficit with that country and divided it by the country's exports to us. So that's how they got the percentage. They just took a trade deficit and turned it into, because they have a trade deficit with us, certainly that means that, it's a trade barrier, because it should be equal. Well, it doesn't work out that way. It never works out that way. So this is where these insane percentages come from. Oh, by the way, notice who isn't on the list? Yeah, that's right, Russia. Now, I haven't seen this clip yet. I just saw the description, but Jim Cramer is honestly hilarious. I know for a while there was literally a meme that pick the opposite of Jim Cramer, what he says, and you'll wind up massively positive for the trading session. But even he feels betrayed. And I've read that it was just hilarious today watching CNBC at these people who never thought he'd do it. Well, here's the thing. I knew he would do it, because this is exactly the type of stupid shit that this guy would do. It makes zero sense. It never made any sense. And it is literally the dumbest thing you could do. I mean, when you're thinking of, hey, how can I take an economy in 30 days? This is what you do. This is exactly what you do. You alienate allies. you tear up free trade agreements, and you put these ridiculous tariffs on everybody. And the only people that pay it are American businesses and American taxpayers. That's who's going to pay this tariff. So everything on that list just became, you're going to pay. We are going to pay. I'm going to put Jim Cramer in here. I haven't heard this yet. I do want to see what exactly he has to say on this.
All on CNBC, that incredible network that I will love to the day I die.
Just so great to be here with you, Erin.
So, and I'm so thrilled that we're able to talk. Okay, so
Man,
what the heck is going on?
Well, I'm let down because I'm not a free trader. I'm a fair trader, always have been.
I haven't seen him in a while.
When you work with me at CNBC.
Rough.
Yep.
And what I was hoping was that a coordinated thing where if you are charging us 20%, we charge you 20. Instead of a car where we're only making you pay 2.5 and you're not letting us in, we try to get things better. But instead,
so on a specific thing, you go, if they're 10 on a car.
Specifically, actually, it sounds really ridiculous, but my favorite trade policy I've ever read, and of course, fiction is great for this because you can do a whole lot of things. It's actually Tom Clancy's. It was a trade reciprocity. In fiction, he called it the Trade Reciprocity Act. And what that did is that anything the trading partner did to the United States as far as trade barriers, so if it was extra inspections, if it was port delays, if it was anything else, the United States could mirror. That's fair trade. If you really want to think about it, that's free trade. Because if a country puts unreasonable, food safety inspections or something on a product and it rots in the port, all right, the U.S. can then respond in exactly the same manner. So it's equal. Unlike whatever Trump did here, when you do that, it's equal. So, if you have a 5% tariff on milk, we'll put a 5% tariff on your milk. You put a 25% tariff on our alcohol, we'll put a 25% tariff on your alcohol. And that makes it equal.
You go 10 on a car.
But I went deep on the numbers today, and the numbers did not make any sense. And I was actually.
I was doing like bananas in Vietnam. You did Cramerica.
Well, I just said, it's one of these things where if I'm doing 100 billion and you're letting me do 10 billion and I'm letting you do 100 billion, there was a way to be able to make it work. But the numbers that they did, and they had this ridiculous. That was the chart that they had with the mathematical equation. Are you kidding me? How about just like
it looked like an Einstein?
I know. How about the fact that it was just wrong?
Yeah.
And what bothered me, Aaron, was that they really did over and over again. The president said, "Listen, it's going to be reciprocal. So you do it, we do it, and that was going to be so good." And I really believed in it. And I feel like a sucker tonight because I am not a free trader, and I do not believe in free trade. And I was just.
I agree. Shockingly, I agree with Jim Cramer. I think free trade in the 90s hollowed out American manufacturing. There's no secret. That's exactly what it did. The unions were absolutely right about that. And it was stated policy for most politicians to offshore. And then, once private equity got a taste of it, it went bonkers. We just packed everything up and shipped it overseas. Regardless of the cost. And it didn't have to be that way. American workers, there's a leveling playing field. And right now, you could get into a lot of reasons of why that we're at where we're at. But we're clearly in an era of, very similar to the Gilded Age in the late 1890s, early 1900s, which is coincidentally Trump's favorite era in America. But it's not good.
Just as tough, if not tougher than his people, but they screwed it up and they did it a totally ill-advised way. And I was very let down as someone who really truly believes that free trade is awful for the American working person. This is what they came up with. Geez, come on, have some gumption, have some math.
how in the world do they do that after all of this? I mean,
don't
Jerome
know.
Powell was
they
like,
assured us over and over again, Aaron, that they were going to do the thing that would make it so that the tariffs would come down and the countries would that were.
So I just read before starting this podcast, it sounds like Trump is already like backtracking a bit. And I can tell you from what industry groups are going to do, because I got briefed on what our particular industry group is going to do, is that right now every industry group is lobbying whoever they can get that has access to the Trump administration to find out what it's going to cost or what they have to pay to get their favored country exempted. Whether it be Vietnam, whether it be the penguins that he put tariffs on in Antarctica. Everybody was burning up the phone lines, trying to get anybody in contact of anybody that they could to see what is it going to cost, what do we have to donate, and who do we have to pay to get exemptions on these tariffs. That's just facts. That is how this is going to roll. That is what is going to happen.
Bad actors would change their ways, and then Israel decides to get rid of tariff,
and they tariffed them anyway.
Vietnam decides to cut their tariff, and they still got the highest tariff. It was such a shame because they missed the opportunity, and now they have to pay the price. And it's funny too because,
again, I hate to say it, but Jim Cramer is absolutely correct. I mean, there are ways to do tariffs correctly, and they're phased in. There's back end support to stuff up domestic manufacturing with discounted loans. Very similar to the CHIPS Act. Actually, the CHIPS Act is probably a prime example of how tariffs and this thing can be done correctly. And I think for the most part, even if he had just stayed at the 10%, like, that's the most frustrating thing. And I think it is for people like Jim Cramer and the people on CNBC and people in business and everything else, is that all he had to do is be the normal performative Donald Trump. I break it, I put a Band-Aid on it, and then I declare victory and I move on with my life. I go play golf and everything else. After all his rhetoric on the election and everything else, all he had to do was put that 10% global tariff on everybody, just a blanket 10% tariff. Leave it there, declare victory, go to his golf club and play golf all weekend, and basically ride out the rest of his presidency doing whatever the hell he wanted. And it wouldn't have created a single ripple on Wall Street at all. Businesses would have absorbed it. We would be totally fine had he just stayed with the 10%. It's these extra tariff percentages that are crushing the stock market, because these make no sense. There's nothing behind them to step up American manufacturing or American-made goods from these countries, and they're not even reciprocal. They're just a tax. They're just an extra tax on the American consumer.
None of this stock market, none of this had to happen, and I feel bad because a lot of people lose money when this happens. I hope people just be calm, be constructive. But the way that they handled it was so Bush League that I was surprised. And President Trump has people who around.
I haven't heard Bush League in forever, but that is exactly what it is.
Him know these things, and
can you explain why when you hear
suboptimal.
Scott Besson, he is a smart guy.
He's very smart.
He is a smart, thougatoughtful, respected person, and he came out and defended these.
Well, I think when you
but people like that, they know. He knows.
I tried to think like that because Peter Navarro is someone I've known for 5 decades.
Yep.
And I was hoping that Peter.
That's kind of all you need to know about Jim Cramer, then, isn't it?
Who I talked with a lot, really understood, because he understood. He taught me these things, and I know he knows what reciprocal tariff really is, and he didn't deliver on that, and that was a shame, because there was such a great opportunity to course correct and make it so all these people who have taken advantage of our country repeatedly and wiped out all the jobs in small towns, wiped out my father's job. This is one of the reasons why I've always felt like this. It's ridiculous how badly we've been taken advantage of. And I thought they were going to do something. And what did they do? They cratered the damn stock market and gave us nothing.
Well, I just want to emphasize again, I think it's so.
Again, what did anybody expect? He told us this is what he was going to do. He said it every speech, every rally. he said this was what he was going to do. And people like Jim Cramer want to be like, oh, well, we thought they were going to be smart about it. We thought they were going to do this. Why? We've had 10 years of this. When is everybody going to wake up and realize the man does what he says he's going to do, however awful that is, because he doesn't say he's going to do much nice things. So, I mean, yeah, where are the lower prices? Oh, well, he threw that on tariffs. Tariffs, they're going to be beautiful tariffs. And they're going to bring prices down immediately. Well, I mean, in a sense that they're going to bring prices down because there's a huge oversupply because nobody can afford anything. He might be right. But it is the consistent failing of the people in media, Jim Cramer, CNN, MSNBC, whoever, and then not even, I mean, North Korean news, which is Fox. Shockingly, I used to watch it all the time. I promise you, for people that are, grew up post-Obama or during Obama, it didn't used to be like a straight up propaganda network. It really shockingly didn't. But that's a whole nother video. But it is this consistent underestimation of what this guy is capable of that is shocking to me. I've been telling people in my organization since the election that don't make any plans, don't put any budgets together, because by the time June or July rolls around, he'll have entirely cratered the economy with these tariffs. Oh no, he's not going to do that. No, that was just campaign stuff. We don't need to worry about it. We don't need a plan. Oh, okay. Then a couple months ago, when he started going after, not even a couple months ago, last month, when he started going after Mexico and Canada, I said the alarm again. Hey, let's make plans for what's going to happen, because this is going to happen. He's going to do this, and we need to know what our plan is going forward. Oh no, it's just Mexico and Canada. Trust me, China is at the top. He wants to get after China. Everybody else will be fine. We don't have to worry about it. Well, now here we are. And what did everybody do today? Ran around like chickens with their head cut off, trying to get a hold of someone in the administration to find out who they can pay off. And yes, I'm just flat out saying it, who they can pay off to get these exemptions added for either their industry, their products, or the country that they import from. That is literally everything that occurred in DC today. And after all the tornadoes and everything else over the weekend, did Trump take any phone calls from industry leaders or anything else? Did he even acknowledge like FEMA or the tornadoes or anything else? No, he went golfing. So what does that say about us?
So important to emphasize where you're coming from, because there are some who will come out and say, well, free trade. Larry Kudlow, your old friend,
I know, and we always had a very flashpoint with me and Larry.
Right, was about free trade, and they'll make the economic argument for it, and they'll make that you're not actually coming from that. You would have been open. You're not ideologically opposed to the concept of what they were trying to do.
Not at all.
But they didn't do it.
They made a bargain with the devil. They decided to get rid of the American working person's good job with a good pension and sacrifice it so we could get cheap goods. And they never thought for a minute, the Republicans or Democrats, what would happen to those towns and those people, and they were left behind. And I always felt that was horrendous. A president comes along that's going to do something about it, and this is what he does.
I appreciate Jim Cramer's sentiment here. I truly do. I agree with him. All right. In fact, I mean, just anecdotal evidence. My parents, this is a stupid story, but it makes sense. My parents when they built their house, they had a water heater. All right. It was a water heater that was manufactured in the United States, and it lasted 40 years. Then it went out. All right. As things do, but it lasted 40 years. I'll say that again. It lasted 40 years. One water heater. 40 years. All right. So they got a new water heater manufactured in China, and it lasted 3 years. 3. So not only did we sacrifice, as Kramer said, good paying American jobs to free trade and exporting and overseas and private equity wanting to squeeze every last dollar out of the companies that they purchase. We've also, I think a friend of mine had a term for it. It's called enshittification. So we've enshittified our entire manufacturing base and our consumer culture. We don't buy quality goods anymore. We buy the cheapest, and it's crap, and it goes bad quickly. My wife actually has a statement: pay more to get quality, and you'll save over time because you won't be buying 5 of the cheap shit.
Part of the reason, and you and I are friends for a long, long time, but many people know our relationship for this one moment. Not this moment, but a moment.
And decades of my so fortunate to be friends with you and your family.
There was this moment, and if anyone hasn't seen it, I'm going to play it. I'm going to play it because we're in a moment right now. I don't know if you heard Peter Tuchman describe it on the floor today. That it was a feeling like in COVID, of just feeling a darkness and a fear and on that floor that people hadn't felt.
What is this, a fangirl moment?
And it was a horrible feeling. It makes you feel sick. And there was another moment, he mentioned COVID, there was one other moment. And that moment was that horrible crash when nobody thought they could even get money out of an ATM.
Right. No, it was us.
And you said it like it was at that time. I want to play the moment.
He has no idea.
Kramer.
I have talked to the heads of almost every single one of these firms in the last 72 hours, and he has no idea what it's like out there. None! And Bill Poole has no idea what it's like out there. My people have been in this game for 25 years, and they are losing their jobs, and these firms are going to go out of business, and he's nuts. They're nuts. They know nothing.
Kramer.
I have not seen it like this since I went 5 bid for 500,000 shares of Citigroup when I got hit in 1990. This is a different kind of market, and the Fed is asleep.
Nailed that one. You know, the little, obviously is very much less medicated than me now, or maybe just younger. And,
well, that's enough of him. I mean, yeah, it's going to get bad. This isn't the end of it. And we just all need to be prepared for random rotating tariffs. I mean, that's what's going to happen. I mean, it's going to be whoever has access to the administration to pay money will get preferential treatment on tariffs. This is exactly what people predicted during the campaign. All right. It is a license for him to print money for himself. And not only that, but he's just going to be taking it from all our wallets. And that's if we don't slide into a depression. Because the last 2 times we tried tariffs like this, we slid into a depression. And shortly after that, there was a world war. So so all those anti-war maggots that voted for him, guess what, folks? It's ticking. The clock is ticking. Iran's talking about preemptive strikes. Russia's mobilizing. We've caused the European Union to mobilize for the first time in 50. Germany has troops on foreign soil for the first time since World War II. Japan, China, and Korea. These are 3 countries that hate each other. I mean, we think as Americans, they're like, oh, no. We don't hate countries the way that they hate countries. Japan is a pariah in China and Korea for what they did during World War II. And guess what? In 30 days, hey, I mean, maybe he deserves a Peace Prize for this. He made Japan, China, and South Korea work together in a retaliatory tariff against the United States. Us. Anyway, please like and subscribe. Trying to get this going, and good night and good luck.